Just watched episode 10 of season 7 of Love is Blind as I'm watching Love is Blind for the first time. And all it's really been proven to me is that this concept does not work, as every single relationship seems to be imploding with a few episodes left in the season. And the more I watch from this show, the more I see that this whole talking in pods concept goes wrong when you can't really connect with people face to face, when you can't really look each other in the eyes and see if the other person might be lying or might be withholding the truth. And some people aren't good at that in real life and will still go for toxic people. But in this case, it's easy for people to hide the truth from others. The men especially are hiding a lot of truths or lying, and and now the relationships are falling apart because of it. I guess we should start with Tim and Alex, as they are the latest couple to completely fall apart, much like Steven and Monica a couple episodes ago. Tim and Alex have had their issues from basically the Mexico, I think, one of the first nights in Mexico when they had an argument that we didn't get to see. And it's why I have refrained from taking sides too hard, because we didn't get to see what happened. We just got the retell. The big issue going around online is, that Alex allegedly put her hands on Tim, or, tried to cover his mouth to make him shut up. Yeah, maybe not the best look, but we don't know exactly what happened. Did she just put her hand up to his face and tell him to stop, tell him to shush? Could have been a finger, could have been a shush. We don't know. But yeah, she shouldn't have touched him. But all the way around, I still give Tim more blame than I give Alex for this relationship never working out. It's what I've been talking about the whole time. Tim was looking for a therapist, and he still clearly needs one. And then he wants his relationship to be a very certain kind of way, but he does not communicate exactly what he wants. Or, he communicates what he thinks he wants, but clearly it's not what he wants. He went around for a couple episodes when they first met, talking about how, he likes a woman that pushes back at him because he'll steamroll over everyone. But every time Alex tries to push back, Tim gets very defensive, says, let me finish talking, is the one that ends up saying that he never wants to see her again. Tim has issues, and Alex was never going to be the one to fix them because she was not the therapist that he was looking for. I will say that Alex meeting Tim's parents and then after a few hours taking a nap, I mean, he's mad about that because he finds it disrespectful. But they sat up and talked for, according to Alex, 10 hours. I mean, 4 hours, and then she took an hour nap, and then they had another 4 or 5 hours together. So I don't know, maybe that is kind of being a little overblown from Tim, but I could somewhat understand his annoyance with that, because he's saying when he met her parents, he was on his best behavior, cleaning dishes and going the whole 9 yards, and he felt Alex wasn't doing the same for his parents. But then Alex is upset because when Tim met her parents, he looked her father in the eye and said he was going to marry her, and now he's breaking up with her and saying he never wants to see her again. Tim did seem kind of over it after their initial fight in Mexico, and then it kind of seemed like they were going through the motions. Alex's personality is very dry as it is. They were just never going to work, and I'm not surprised that they have imploded. The other big drama in episode 10 was actually Taylor and Garrett, with Garrett texting his old girlfriend, ex-girlfriend from 7 years ago, a long time ago. And then he's kind of hiding the truth from Taylor about texting her back and what he texted her back. and it comes out when the whole group is together again at a party, and Taylor found it disrespectful, and Taylor was hurt by it. And I kind of understand it, but it's really just their first communication breakdown. And I guess I've come a long way because most of these other couples are so bad that for the first several episodes here, I was shitting all over Garrett. He was one of my least favorite people, and he's still very boring television. But I'm going to stick up for him a little bit here. It's a young relationship. The concept is you got to meet each other for the first time and then basically a few weeks later marry each other. It's a really hard concept to work, and so they are still figuring each other out, and they are still figuring out how to communicate with each other. And so yes, it is a hiccup, but I think they have a good heads on their shoulders. Garrett and Taylor, very smart people, two scientists. I think they can work through these issues, so I'm not too upset by them yet. The issues I am upset about are Nick and Hannah, of course. Hannah continues her bullshit where she's always putting Nick down as a way to make herself feel better than him, feel superior to him. I don't know her issue, but I'm really getting sick of it. Another issue is that after consulting her friends seem to get more in her head, and she's also feeling worse about Nick after consulting her friends. And once again, as I pointed out all along too, Nick has issues of his own. He is immature, and he has a lot of growing up to do in many different aspects of life and in a relationship. But I feel like Nick is trying. And according to Hannah, he's not trying in like sexual ways, and that's a problem for them. And if that's true, that's fair. But Hannah's making it seem like in every single element of the relationship, Nick isn't doing a good job. And I don't see that as true. And I do see him trying in other elements of the relationship. And then at the party, when everybody gets together, we get Nick with some girl. Don't even remember her name. I want to say Katie. We didn't get them talking in the pods a lot, but apparently in the pods they had some kind of connection. And she's just older than Nick. But watching them talk, you know, she's in her early 30s. She's way more mature than Hannah. Not surprising because Hannah's very immature. And they did seem like a way better fit, even though there's an age gap, and even though Nick is young and has some growing up to do. She was good at giving Nick the positive reinforcements that he, I think, thrives in or would thrive in, whereas Hannah is just utterly ridiculous and doesn't even give Nick a chance to thrive. I just really strongly dislike Hannah. I always have since I started watching the show. In the first episode I talked about, I was talking shit about Hannah because she just thinks she is all that and a bag of chips, but that bag is empty. So her like acting like she's making Nick grow up when she has so much growing up to do. Her talking shit about Nick not bringing enough to the relationship, or Nick not leveling up when she is still jobless at this point. She does not have a job because she quit it to be on this show, and Nick does have a job. Hannah is honestly very frustrating to watch and does annoy me, and I can't wait for this to further implode. I want Nick far away from her. He has growing up to do, but he's trying, and I think he would thrive in a relationship with somebody like Katie, if that was even her name, because the show didn't show us these things, because this show does not like to show us the good stuff. We always miss the initial fights. We missed this with Nick and another woman, because we had to watch so much of Leo the first 5 episodes for whatever reason, even though he's not even a part of the show. Didn't even show up at this party, which at least would have been a little entertaining to see Leo and Hannah together, even though I got sick of Nick after a few episodes, so I'm not completely sad that he didn't show up at this party. But still, the producing, the editing of this season, don't love it. Who does that leave us to talk about? I'll save Ramses and Marissa for last. We still have Ashley and Tyler to talk about. I don't know. I just don't have a lot to say about them. They really went from one of the couples I cared about most to literally the couple I care about the least, along with Garrett and Taylor. Yeah, I'm just not feeling them anymore. And I think it's because I learned the information about Tyler outside of watching the show on Twitter, unfortunately. And it really just took me out from them. So yeah, they just kind of ain't doing it for me, and they're really becoming fast forward material for me overall. That leaves Marissa and Ramses, who, despite Ramses constantly being annoying, in this episode he's really coming off as someone who only wants a relationship for sex, kind of. He's upset they're not having more sex, even though Marissa isn't feeling well. We've already discussed at one point how he doesn't like to wear condoms in a relationship or during sex. And in that situation, in that light, Ramses, very obnoxious. Just the thing that annoys me about Ramses is what I've had to talk about for like 2 videos now. This is the 3rd one, where he just wants to act like he's so liberal and so for women, and then the way he's coming off lately, it's all coming off as fake. Yeah. But I still feel like they have the best communication. I will say, though, they could have the best communication in the world, but if they're just not compatible because of the way they see life, the way they see relationships, then it still might not work out. They can talk through everything, but if they're going to be stubborn and set in their ways, which sometimes Ramses seems like he wants to be, and Marissa can be too, then the relationship's just not going to work. But I do still like them. I do think they still have the best chemistry out of everyone, yes, including Taylor and Garrett. And they have the best communication. We're seeing Garrett and Taylor struggle with communicating right now. Ramses and Marissa talk about everything. And some can see that as bad because Ramses can be stuck in his ways and can be very annoying in his hypocrisy. But at least they talk about it. And in this case, they did talk through it. So if they have that good of a communication, if they truly want to be together, and if they truly want to be married, and if they truly can work through, problems, and Ramses can not be so stuck in his ways, they can still work. Am I still rooting for them? Not necessarily. I'm not rooting for anyone left because this show, to me, after it being my first season I'm watching, the concept doesn't work. This is just proving that. I don't know if it's the casting. I don't know if they cast a bunch of people who are not there for the right reasons. But whatever it is, the concept is not working. But Ramses and Marissa do give me the best TV so far because they both have great personalities. Marissa got to meet up with Bowden again. Yeah, that wasn't going to work. They are too similar. And Bowden's kind of weird in person when talking to girls. So I understand that she picked the right person in Ramses, even though Ramses has problems of his own. Yeah, so will any of these couples get married? Probably just Garrett and Taylor, the way it's looking. But maybe Ramses and Marissa too, if they can continue to talk through all of their differences. Which, like I said earlier with Tim and Alex, or whoever I was talking about, the concept is like tough because it all happens so fast that after they finally meet each other, they have to live together for a while and then get married like weeks later. It's a lot. But Marissa and Ramses are trying. I will give them that.